It is always great catching up with my next guest, the number 4 ranked light heavyweight fighter, Aleksandar Rakic, back here on the program. Aleksandar, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, bro. You? All good?
Oh, everything's great. I'm talking to you, so things must be pretty good. Let's start first with the knee injury, man. I know we haven't heard from you since the fight with Jan Blachowicz. How's recovery going on the ACL?
The recovery going very well. Everything like planned. So we are like 6 months now after surgery. Last week I had another MRI and a doctor checkup. So everything is in place. Everything is where it should be. I'm training hard. I'm still not doing wrestling and grappling, but I'm doing boxing like the last 2.5, 3 months. I'm doing a lot of conditioning and strength training. So yeah, everything is on point. The coaches are motivated to get back on the track and to show the world Rocket 3.0.
I love it. I love it. That's great. And for those who might not know, the injury, did it, like, I know it obviously happened in the fight, but was it a pre-existing injury going into the fight, or was it something that happened during the fight?
Yeah, I mean, I injured the knee 3 weeks before the fight in a sparring. Yeah, I felt a little bit I feel unstable in my knee during the sparring session. They change, partners in between the training. So I switched from striking to wrestling, and basically I did a 3 round MMA, 3 rounds MMA with a good striker. Then then the last 2 rounds with a heavy wrestler. So yeah, and I felt like something is in my knee, but yeah, I mean, I did immediately. I went to the physiotherapist and I did everything what I could, and 2 3 days later, I was already good to go to training, and I finished the camp with not any big problems with the knee. And then fight week came, then the media obligations, everything. I completely forgot about the knee injury. I thought I'm 100%, and I went into the fight with not thinking about the knee, because this happened in the past, and I thought, okay, just a little bit overstretching the muscle or something like that. But the fight is the stress, the weight cut, everything affects, and then just a small step back, and the knee popped. Yeah. And then right in my mind when that happened, then right in my mind I thought, oh shit, this was the injury what happened in the camp.
And let's talk about the fight. It was interesting. Obviously, a very close matchup. The second round, you looked very dominant. What were your overall takeaways from that performance? Because I think most people watching felt like you looked really good in that second round.
Yeah, I mean, the first round was like kind of like even. I was trying to find my right distance. I didn't fought for 14 months before that, so and you want to be careful, small gloves, everything. So when I rewatched the fight, I would not say that I lost the round. It was pretty even, but second round was completely mine, and in the third round we started to put the gear on, because the plan was to put the fight in long way. So in fourth or fifth round, because I was so prepared, cardio and conditioning wise, to go 10 rounds and not 5 rounds. Even the doctors before the fight told me, man, you trained really hard for that fight, because your heart rate is really low. You can go 10 rounds. And I felt like I could go to 10 rounds. So the plan was to go to start slow and to build up in the later rounds, because we knew that Jan couldn't follow, or would not follow that pace. So, and if you rewatch the fight, and if you see my hands in the third round, when I threw hands in my third round, in the first round, in the third round was even faster than in the first round. And after a second round, a heavy grappling second round, yeah. But shit happens. It was not my time yet, and but yeah, I think the most of the guys in the division are happy that I'm for a while now out. But when I come back, they're gonna be scared again when I'm stepping into the octagon, because I'm really motivated now, and this for everybody who thinks this gonna stop me, or or I'm gonna change my game, or I'm gonna change as a fighter, that's not true, because this gives me more confidence, this gives me more motivation, because I had already 2 ACL surgeries on my left knee, and this was before my UFC career, and I came back even stronger. So yeah, and I told my doctor who did the surgery, he did the same surgery, he was the same doctor on my left knee. I told him, doc, you did my left knee, I made it to the top 5 in the UFC. You did my right knee, we're gonna be world champions.
There you go. Shout out to your doctor who's keeping you all intact there. I did speak to Jan a few weeks ago, and Jan's been pretty respectful, but he did throw out one line. I was just curious your thoughts. He says, when talking about the fight with you, he says he felt good, and he said that my body was tougher than his. What do you think of that?
That's bullshit. I mean, I don't know for sure. His mental coach told him that all the time, and all the time keeping in that. And my body is tougher. I'm the rock. I'm the mountain. I'm blah 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 and blah blah blah. You know, that's this mental coach what he has. But let's see who body is tougher. If a healthy Aleksandar Rakic, let's do a round 2. I was waiting when he canceled the fight the first time when he had the injury. So of course he has a fight now against Ankalaev, but I would love to fight him, and I know that I can beat him, and I know that he knows that I can beat him, because he felt it, and I think he was the happiest man alive when my knee popped and I fell down. So, and the fight was over. But that's sport. That's sport. But I know in the second fight, no way. No way.
Well, he's got a fight coming up here at UFC 282. He's in the co-main event against Magomed Ankalaev. How do you think that fight plays out? Because I'm sure you're paying attention to that one along with the main event.
True. I mean, a hard matchup for Jan as well for Ankalaev. In that fight, I think the favorite is Ankalaev because his win streak. But the people are forgetting Jan does very well against southpaws. And he did it. He fought Luke Rockhold. He fought Dominick Reyes. Both he knocked out. He fought Israel Adesanya, who were switching stance, who are a lot of the time in the southpaw position, and he likes to fight southpaws. So I would not blame on him, and I would not underestimate him against Ankalaev. Of course, Ankalaev, he's a very dangerous fighter. I mean, he is a smart guy. He don't go in wild exchanges. He's pointing, he's watching, he's waiting. So it's gonna be an interesting fight, and I would say it's 55% Ankalaev, 45 Jan, because Jan does very well against southpaws.
Who do you think this favors with the fact it's a 3-round fight and not a 5-round fight? Do you think that favors Jan, or do you think that favors Ankalaev?
I think it's Jan, probably because of the age.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And just on that note, like, do you feel that fights that are big in the division, like, a fight like that between Blachowicz and Ankalaev, should that be a 5-round fight, do you think, just because of what's on the line? Like, maybe the winner does fight the winner of the main event. Do you feel like that should be sort of a rule?
True. 100%. I mean, why not? Because even if you're fighting for a belt, or if you're a champion and you are defending the belt, all the fights going to be 5 rounds. And of course, a preparation for a 5-round and a 3-round, it's a little bit different. But of course, I think in that fight against Jan and Ankalaev, the winner going to fight probably for the belt. And if I'm in that position, I would love to fight 5-round, even if I'm co-main event. A lot of guys are lazy to do that, and they are like doing the 3 rounds or even 2 rounds, and they want to go home or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not, with me. I take it very serious, and even my coaches needed to stop me. For if it's in my rule, I would train all day 24/7. But my coaches are stopping me, and this is the better way. Then they needed the coaches need to push you, because if the coaches need to push you, that's wrong.
The main event of that card is obviously the rematch between champion Jiri Prochazka and Glover Teixeira. How do you see the rematch going? Because it's very interesting. The first fight, I think most people felt like Glover was probably winning that, and then Jiri gets the finish. How do you see the rematch going?
Yeah, this was a crazy fight, the first round. I feel really sorry for Glover because it was like, what, 30 seconds before ending the fight, he was already winning that. But MMA, this sport is, it's so crazy. We had this now the last couple of times, Adesanya Pereira, Usman Leon, now Jiri Glover. So you need to be focused all 5 rounds. But in my opinion, for that, for the second fight, I think Jiri gonna win again because those wars, what those two had, you know, you can't this you're gonna this feeling and that fight gonna follows you for a couple of years, and some guys are never coming back after this war uh to the same thing. But I think, as again, Yuri will take this better than Glover because of the age.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not gonna blame on Glover. He did a very good job and he's tough, but I think Glover. I think Yuri gonna win this fight. I mean, maybe by knockout or by TKO.
There's a lot of stuff going on with Yuri. One of the things that came out was that he's been tested 51 times by USADA. Do you think that's kind of overdoing it a bit?
Why not? I mean, of course, it's annoying. It's stressful. It is. But I mean, he's a champion, and I mean, the guys in the USADA and the doping agency, they're doing a very good job, and the guys are helping us to make the sport clean. And I'm a fan of it. Of course, sometimes, a couple days ago, I was not home. The USADA called me, "Hey, where are you?" I'm gonna come in 10, 15 minutes. Of course, you need to tell them where you are, but they're doing their job. And yeah, 50 times is a lot, but you know, it should, it could, how I can tell, okay, how I can say, if they test him 50 times, maybe he had in the past, even if he was not in the UFC, he had some things going on. You never know, and you seldom know that, or he needed to fill out that he took something. If he took, I'm not gonna say that he took, and they are now have an eye on him, and controlling him more. So I don't know. That's what I thought now, right now in my mind, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I get your perspective for sure. And just the other thing with Yuri, what did you make of him? I don't know if you read this story about how he locked himself in a room for 3 days to get rid of the demons. What did you think of that?
I mean, I don't know, man. A lot of guys are doing things. I mean, a lot of guys saying things just to get the media attention, and just the people are talking and talking and talking. And James, you believe me that I lock myself 5 days in a dark room and don't eat?
No,
If
I
I'm
don't think so.
telling you now, maybe you're gonna believe, and they're going around.
Yeah.
So no, it's okay for him if he feel good about that. It's okay.
Mhm.
I go every Sunday ice bath in 2-degree cold water, and that's it. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't pay attention on these things.
Mhm. Yeah, I
If
was just curious.
he,
You don't strike me as a guy to do that. Stay in a room by
no, but
yourself.
it's okay. If he wants to test himself, and that, for sure, he's telling this story to the media because he wants attention. That's normal. So it's okay. If he's happy with that, he can do 10 days. I don't care.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, you mentioned the ice baths. So I got to tell you, I started doing cold showers since the beginning of the year, and I love it. You go in for 3 minutes, you do the cold exposure. I think it's so good. Everyone out there should do it because it really, I don't know, it wakes you up. You feel better. I'm sure you can understand, right?
I do it now for 3 years,
Mhm.
and before, even especially in the camp, when I do camp, before every morning I wake up, I do cold shower, and then a coffee, supplements, breakfast, training. That's like you said, and of course breathing exercises,
Yeah.
because that wakes up the body. And of course, because of the regeneration, the immune system, boosting of the immune system, the recovery of all the muscle and the joints. And now, especially in the winter time, I go with my guys every Sunday. We have a routine: 10 in the morning, we go to the lake or to the sea and gonna and sit for 5 or 10 minutes, just to recover the body. And of course it's a mental thing as well.
Yeah.
If you see a lot of snow, if the water is half with ice and that, so I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, so am I. And you brought up a good point. One of the things I like about it, it's like a mental hurdle to get over. Like I'm up early in the morning, so when I do it at like, I don't know, 6 in the morning, it really like, it's like, okay, I've already accomplished this for the day. I can take on anything else, so I can definitely relate to that. So
True.
yeah. So there we go. We sort of talked about it there. Obviously, still not doing 100% full-fledged training. I know you're still working out the injury a little bit, but do you have an idea of when you think you'll fight again? Do you have sort of an idea now?
I mean, I would, if you ask me right now, I would love to fight immediately, but that's not possible. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably start wrestling in the next year, like January, February, and then we're gonna see how the knee are feeling, and probably like April, May, or June. In May, gonna be exactly 1 year after surgery, so it should be good. We will see how the division gonna go on, and yeah, I mean, better to take 1 month longer than shorter to not risk any re-injuries on the knee.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Better be safe than sorry. Might as well we'll take the adequate time to sort
True.
of do that. I guess it's kind of early to start talking about opponents, right? Because the division could look a bit different by the time you want to step in there. Is that kind of what you're thinking right now?
Yeah, I mean, my focus is the belt, but if I can choose, I would love to fight Jan again. That's my biggest wish, because we have unfinished business, and I know that I can beat him. But yeah, probably the winner of Jan and Ankalaev gonna fight for against the winner of Jiri and Glover. So I would love to fight even the loser of Jiri Glover or the loser of Jan Ankalaev. That would be very interesting for me.
Okay. Name another name I'll throw out there, and I don't know if the timing would work out, but just your thoughts on Jamahal Hill and what he's been doing in the division. He's been making a lot of noise, knocked out Thiago Santos. What are your thoughts on him?
True. He's coming. He's coming. He's like, I think, 6. What's right? 5 or 6. He's gonna fight. He's gonna. Yeah, he's gonna come. He's. I saw a couple of fights of him. He had a hard fight against Thiago. He finished him in the 4th, I think. Thiago was dead. He was tired, like, right? But I think he took Jamahal him like 7 or 8 times down. So I mean, Jamahal Hill is a good fighter, but I see he's a little bit one-dimensional. He has only that good boxing. He has good boxing skills. I didn't saw from him any kicks. I didn't saw from him any active wrestling or grappling. So for me, I just know him as a boxer, and yeah, if he come to the top 5, he need to work more on those things. Maybe he's a good grappler or wrestler, and he didn't show that. But I mean, we will see. I think I just hear that he's gonna probably fight Anthony Smith. Is that right?
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, that's the rumor out there.
So yeah, I mean, again, if he fights against Anthony Smith, he has a kind of like a true mixed martial artist who is a legit on the stand up. He's a high level BJJ black belt, and he's a very experienced fighter. So if he pass Smith, yeah, then of course you're gonna probably crack the top 5, and of course the potential matchup against him. Like I said, my goal is the belt, and whoever they're gonna put in front of me, I'm gonna clean it out.
Some other things going on in your division. We just had Dominick Reyes return, and of course losing to Ryan Spann. What do you think is next for him? Because that's 4 losses in a row since fighting Jon Jones.
Yeah, I mean, that's really tough. 4 fights. I just need to say he fought 4 good guys. I mean, top guys. So this we can't forget, because he fought the best of the best, and this is not a shame to lose. But I mean, he was like, I don't know how he lost like the last 3 by knockouts. It's pretty tough. I don't know, man. I mean, every fight in the UFC is not an easy fight, but maybe to give him, I don't know, a guy who that built him up again, that he confidence and everything. But like I said, no easy fight in UFC. He need to go through this.
And someone who has not fought in a while that used to be in your weight class, Jon Jones, we still don't know what's going on with him. Do you think he's going to return, or do you think there's just? I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen him fight. 2020 was the last time he fought.
Oh, yeah, man. I just saw today that probably they was like they're gonna fight Francis right in March. They say, I don't know if the UFC doesn't post anything. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
When the UFC gonna post, then I believe. But yeah, I mean, how long he's bulking? 2-3 years? That's too much. It's. I mean, yeah. I mean, he did a great job. He did a great job, and he did a great things in the light heavyweight division. Heavyweight division is, of course, a little bit different, but this guy, doesn't matter what he's doing and everything. This guy is intelligent in fighting, and his fight IQ is very good. And I think he gonna doing good in heavyweight if he gonna fight ever again. Like I said, I'm gonna believe when I see.
Islam Makhachev getting a big win, winning the lightweight title. What did you make of his performance against Charles? Because it was very dominant.
Perfect fight for me. Charles did, he didn't manage the distance. The distance was too close, and there's this jumping scissor kicks or something like that, what he likes to do. After that, Islam caught him with the left, and those are things why I'm doing that, especially in such important fight. And if you do it fast and crispy and not sloppy, and get relaxed after. I mean, Islam did a very good job by the book, like I said, by the book. And I was expecting that he's gonna win, probably, but not in that way, not so fast, and not in that fashion.
And did you have him winning going into the fight, or did you think that Charles was going to win?
No, I was 100% sure that Islam gonna win.
Okay, gotcha. So that's good. And now, before we get out of here, I know obviously you've been rehabbing and all these things. Have you picked up any other hobbies while you've sort of been on the sidelines? Because I know obviously your whole life is fighting and training, but you haven't been able to do it to your best ability with this injury, right?
True. I mean, I had a lot of time to spend with my family, with my son, but of course, I found a new hobby. I shoot. I going for shooting. I bought a pistol. I did a license for that. I doing like level 1, level 2, level 3.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, while I'm not able to do 100% martial arts, I do that like every 2 weeks, once or twice. I go there shooting. It's fascinating because it's similar to fighting. You need to be concentrated, focus, accuracy, controlling yourself, coordination. So it's a good mix now in that. And for sure I'm gonna keep this going, even if I'm when I'm start training and going, just to have other hobby while doing my job.
And you just mentioned it there. How old's your son? How's fatherhood these days?
Yeah, he's good. I mean, he's 3 years old, and
Oh, cool.
We already roll a little bit in the house. I show him takedowns, judo, grappling. He loves it.
Yeah.
And I build this like playing with him. He, of course, he still don't understand what's MMA or what's grappling and wrestling is, but he thinks it's a game, and that's very good.
That's good.
I don't force him. I don't force him to be a fighter, only if he wants it.
Yeah, I have my son in jiu-jitsu. My son's 5 now, but he started last year when he was 4, and he's loving it. It's actually helped with other areas because, like, there's some discipline involved and paying attention and stuff, and I find it's really helped. So yeah, I can relate as a father. It's very cool to see them go the route of martial arts, right?
True, 100%. I was also thinking when my son turns 4, this is gonna be next year in September. Then I'm gonna start to bring him as well to jiu-jitsu, and also to train with my coach, because he has all the small sons, so they can train together. And Yeah, I mean, this is the best martial arts for kids, especially jiu-jitsu. Kind of like a soft sport for those ages is perfect. Also to build character and to build confidence, and it's the best.
Yeah, and this interview is the best, Alexander. I always appreciate you taking the time, man. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors or any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Thank you. I would just want to say thank you to your followers, for and yeah, for making this sport so great. And just want to say thank all the people who are supporting me in the whole world. And yeah, you can expect, like I said, Rocket 3.0, the the most motivated Aleksandar Rakic would you ever say.
Make sure to subscribe to the Low Kick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.